Good afternoon, YouTube. It is I, Danielle, better known as Danielle Out Medium, and in this video, we're going to talk about asking for help, where should we get the help from, and how the help from the spirit world can really improve your mediumship and you as the individual medium. So like I say, I am Danielle. If you're enjoying this video, like, share and subscribe, and we're going to go right into this topic. And this question come off the back of a lovely lady out in Australia who inboxed my Facebook page. And if you aren't following me on Facebook, certainly check us out on Instagram. We now have a brand new Twitter account, so certainly check us out on them social media platforms if it's helpful to you there. But yes, this question come in from a lovely lady out in Australia who asked me, Danielle, my mediumship's not moving forward. Danielle, I don't know how to push forward. I've been watching, bits and pieces, this, that and the other. I've, done all these things and nothing's working. And I want to tell you a little video, a little story, a little bit about a lady who I come into contact with last year, about maybe July time of last year. She'd been working with different individuals and had done many different things. And like the lady from Australia who inboxed me was struggling to move forward. And I said to her, look, I says, try this technique. It's the one I use and the one that I find most beneficial to me and beneficial to my students. If it doesn't work, then you've lost nothing, and you've got everything to gain if it does work. And the first 5 steps that I give them, and including this lady, is 1, sit for the spirit world. People do not know or do not realise how important this here really is. It is so important. It is fundamentally the biggest part of your mediumship. Training, development, all the rest of it can all be done here. And people don't realise it. People don't realise how easy it is by sitting for the spirit world. Taking that extra 10 to 15 minutes every day will get you with the intention up and on your feet, and your mediumship will be unique to you. It will not be anybody else's mediumship. It will be yours because you will have been trained by the spirit world just like me. Anyway, this here is so important. 1, it's not only good for your mediumship, but it's good for you as well. And the lady who come to me in July, I said to her, sit for the spirit world. I said, see how you get on with that. Second, what you do after that is you start asking the spirit world to come forward. Or you don't even have to ask the spirit world to come forward. You can just start talking in your mind. And you're going to look at me a bit weird and go, well, what do you mean by that? There's nobody there to talk to. What you have to understand is that thoughts are living things. And if you put enough intention to the thoughts, then the spirit world's going to get them, regardlessly. It might not be straight away, but they'll pick them up. Whether you know who your guides are, you don't know who your guides are, they're going to pick them up. And what you have to do is get specific, so focused on what it is that you want. What is it that you want from your mediumship? Is it accurate evidence? Is it evidential mediumship? Is it emotional communications? Is it knowing who your communicators are? Is it knowing who your guides are? What is it that you want to know? And what you need to start doing is when you're sitting, you either need to start putting the thoughts out of what it is that you want in order to move your mediumship forward. So, getting back to the lady in July, she come back to me in September of last year, and she said, look, Danielle, I haven't spoken to you in a couple of months. I says, yes. I says, no, I've been busy and stuff, and you know how it goes. She says, I want to update you. I says, all right. Then I says, what's the crack? You know what I mean? What's happening? She says, well, 1, she says, I feel $1 million, which sitting in the power will do that for you. It will help you to quiet your mind, which helps you to gain more access to the spirit world, which also helps you to understand energy more. 2, she had started to work with her spirit team. And furthermore, her mediumship had started to move forward. Now, this lady had been stuck. She'd worked with some of the best in the business. I'm not saying that my technique's any better than theirs or their technique's any better than mine. I'm not saying that. All I'm saying is that I've tried and tested this out on the general public and on my students and on myself. I'm a living proof that this works. And I also know it works out there in the industry. And that's why I so heavily promote it. The reason I promote it so readily for is because I believe that every medium is unique. I believe that every medium can be unique, and you don't need to be like everybody else. You can be your unique self, get everything that you need that's unique to you. The problem with certain individual teaching is that it's unique to them. It's their teaching, it's their knowledge. And while their knowledge will be for most of the broad spectrum, it's not unique to you. In what the spirit world, and for many, many years, and if we want to go right back to the very beginning, a lot of you will know about Gordon Higgins. Gordon Higgins was an exceptionally strong medium. He was trained by his mother, Fanny, who was his trainer, and he was trained solely by the spirit world. The spirit world taught him, trained him, and actually made his mediumship where it is this day with discipline from his mother, Fanny. So if it's good enough for the likes of the old school mediums, then it's good enough for you. What the problem is here is people don't want to put the effort in. People don't want to put the time in. People think that, you know, if they do all these other different things, it's going to get them what they want. Eventually they're going to get stuck because there hasn't been enough foundation built. There hasn't been enough relationship with the spirit world. I've got a video, I'll put it in. Your relationship with the spirit world is yours. It will always be yours. It's your journey, your path, your knowledge. And that's what makes you unique. That's what makes your training so specifically designed to you. For many of you who maybe been watching me for a little while and maybe have watched some of my lives, I have a gentleman with me who's called Chief. And me and Chief used to play games, and they were unique to me. And the reason they were unique to me was because he knew how my mind worked and what was the best way to get my information over in order to be able to give communications. Now, I'm not saying that you shouldn't take hints and tips. That's not what I'm saying. What I'm saying here is don't make your mediumship like everybody else's. Don't become like everybody else because your mediumship's unique to you. And people scream, well, I want accurate evidence, and I would like this and I'd like that. You're going to get that if you put in this groundwork, if you do this relationship with the spirit world, because eventually you're going to get that. And what I would also say as well is once you're focused, you must keep at it. Don't give up because it hasn't come in straight away. That's another thing that many mediums get very frustrated with. It's because it hasn't happened straight away, or because it's not landing the way that you think it should come in. People then decide that it's not working and they'll go elsewhere, or they'll not do anything because, or they'll go back to the way they were doing it because they don't believe that it's happening. What you tend to have to work with, or when you realise when you work for the spirit world, it happens when the time is right. You can't force these things. These things happen when it's ready for you, when you're in a good enough place to take them on. Because for every bit of accurate evidence, for every bit of communication you do, there's got to be an understanding of not only yourself but also of the spirit world as well. It's not just taking all this stuff from the spirit world and then there'd be no growth with you. What people don't realise what mediumship is, when you come onto this journey, this spiritual journey, that's what it is. It's a journey. Communications, or giving communications, is only part of the journey. You grow as an individual, you will change as an individual, you will evolve as an individual. Because as an old school medium once told me, how can you put your hand out in friendship to the people in front of you when you don't have any understanding of what they're talking about? Therefore, how can you give that communication if you don't get it? And that is a very big thing that stuck with me all my life. And while you may not have actually had them instances happen to you, people will be surrounded around you who have been through them issues, or have been through that loss, or have been through them trials and tribulations. How can you honestly give over a communication if you've got no understanding, or have got no understanding of the relationship between you and the spirit world, the relationship between the spirit world and the sitter and you? It's a three-way street. I talk about this all the time. It's what I call the 1, 2, 3 process. Spirit world, medium, sitter, medium, spirit world. All have to be intertwined in some capacity. So when you are asking for help, and in what will also happen is, like I say, because it's not happening for you first time, fear will set in, or you'll think you're doing something wrong. Actually, you're not doing anything wrong. You sometimes got to give these time to get things up and on their feet. You've got to give them time to sort things out. Do you know that the spirit world can teach you anything? And I mean anything. And you're going to look at me and go, that cannot purely be possible. Then let me put this to you. You are working for people who are where you come from. And we talk so heavily about the intelligence in which that they have. So why can't they teach you? Why can't they teach you all you need to know and a bit more? Now, I'm not saying that teachers out there and stuff like that aren't helpful. You're helpful. I'm not saying that in any capacity. But what I really want to get over to people is making sure that you have your understanding of the spirit world first before you start looking for other people's understanding. I'll tell you a little story. 3 years ago, I wasn't in a good place as a medium, emotionally. And I decided that I would trot myself off to a 5-day residential course. In fact, I did two. Nothing wrong with either one of them. One, I learned bits and pieces from. I learned how to work a no. I learned not to give out random names. And the second one, I learned bits and pieces. I wouldn't say I learned a great deal, but I learned bits and pieces. I learned a lot about myself through that experience. And what that taught me is that actually there was nothing wrong with I thought there was something wrong with my mediumship. Actually, there wasn't. It was actually that I wasn't in a good place as a medium, and I then pushed that out and started thinking it was my mediumship that was the issue, when really it wasn't. It was actually, there was an issue with Danielle, and it took me 2 years to work out the emotional problems and the issues that I had within me so that I could then continue with my mediumship. My mediumship still stayed, but my mediumship hasn't progressed because I've had to progress as a human, as an individual. Now I've done that, my mediumship will start to pick up, and that's what happens. There's a learning process for you as the individual, then your mediumship will slow a little, or it might just stay the same. Then once the growth of the individual or the medium or the instrument, then there's a big growth in your mediumship, and then there's a growth of you, and then there's a growth of the mediumship, and that's how it goes. And that's what these do. And the spirit world bring in everything at the right time. Everything happens when it's meant to happen. You can't rush this process. You can't. This process is a natural process. There's a naturalness to mediumship. We are natural. We are from the spirit world. We go back to the spirit world. You can't manufacture this. You've got to give your time to it. You've got to be focused. You've got to be prepared to ask for the help. You've got to go to the spirit world. And even if there's nobody there and it's pitch black and you're just talking, they will get that. They will hear you. They will start to put things in place. If you want to learn about ages, reading energy, then talk to them about all these things. They'll bring it in for you. They'll teach you these things. They'll bring certain, when you're out in open circles, or you're doing private sittings or floor demonstrations, they'll bring all these things in so that you get an understanding of them. They may bring you across my YouTube channel or somebody else's, or, so that you understand what it is that the spirit world's trying to get over to you there, in order so that you can learn the things that you're asking for them to learn. These are so clued up and so clever that there's no reason why they can't teach you. So in this video, I've talked about asking for help. Before you go outside looking for help, go inside. Go to the spirit world. Go to yourself. Check in with you. Make sure that you're not having a bit of a bad time at the minute. Your emotions aren't a bit all over, which is then bleeding down in your mediumship, because your mediumship never alters. It always stays the same, or the spirit world does, I should say. And learn to check inside before you start projecting outside. If you are in a good place and you've done all these things, give it some time. See how that progresses for you. They may put you in front of somebody who's a bit like me, or something completely different, whatever it may be there. It's whatever the spirit world feels is for you, that will bring for you. If you are struggling and you don't know where to go, keep talking to the spirit world. Keep talking to them. They will help you. The help will come in whichever form that they feel is best for you. But if you want to be that natural, unique, individual medium, be trained by these. Sit for these. These will give you all the knowledge you need. I have been Danielle, better known as Danielle Happy Medium. And please do like, share and subscribe. And hopefully I'll see you all next week. Bye for now.